Privacy Act 1988 specifics. There's two key factors related to the Amended Privacy Act that I want to go over in this video, and that is that of technologically neutral regulation and the distinguishment between identifiable versus reasonably identifiable information. So what we're going to look at first is that of technologically neutral regulation. And basically what it means is the Act itself does not focus on the use of any specific technologies related to privacy principles. So it doesn't say you must use this, and this. Okay, there is no outline or differentiation within the Act on different types of technology. Okay, now this is a contentious area as an organization's systems technology power does have a major impact on the security measures it can put in place in order to collect, store, use, and process data in a secure manner. So it doesn't go into specifics. Okay, so doesn't matter what technology you use, but obviously there is more to it than that, okay? Because we can't just use anything. We can't use this old bomb of a computer here, okay? It does have to have the degree of functionality in order to satisfy still the mandated privacy needs. So this decision was made as it would be impossible for regulators to keep up to date with the rapid pace of technological advancement. Okay, as we know, technology changes at a rapid pace. We're always getting better processors, we're getting higher amounts of RAM, we're getting much better graphics cards and solid state systems and all that. Okay, so it's impossible to keep that up. You'd have to keep updating the Act all the time. Okay, so it doesn't go into detail. What does matter is whatever's in place satisfies the requirements of the Privacy Act 1988. So the specifics relating to keeping people's data secure, okay, keeping people's privacy, okay, at hand, and that you can't share information. There's got to be something set up to protect data, okay. So that still needs to be visible. So it's not going to say the technology you need, but you've got to have things in place in order to satisfy the act. So that's what technologically neutral regulation is about. Okay, not much mention of specific technology, but your technology must satisfy the elements of the act. The next area we're going to talk about is that of identifiable versus reasonably identifiable information. And what it relates to is the degree in which information can be directly connected to an individual. So firstly, we have identifiable information, okay, which specifically relates to a person and includes details in the records such as the person's name. So the actual record is about them, okay? It could have things such as their Medicare records or could be talking about them in a specific newsletter. Okay, it could have their financial or banking details. It is specifically about that person. Okay, the Privacy Act specifies identifiable as when the individual is the subject matter of the information. So that's what we're going to highlight here. So the individual themselves are the subject matter, that is identifiable information, because I know if I look it up about them, I get information specifically about them. I can identify them from that information. The next category is that of reasonably identifiable information, okay, where an individual might not be the direct subject matter, but it may be possible to link and distinguish information about them, okay, from the specific data. So this may be in the form of information that could be in about an individual in another person's records, such as their spouse, okay? Their spouse might be listed as their emergency contact, okay? Or the individual could be their spouse's emergency contact. So in that case, when they are the emergency contact, they are reasonably identifiable. It could list the names of the kids they have in that family. So that's once again reasonably identifiable, okay? Because it's not about the kids, but the kids' names are listed there. So what we're saying with reasonably identifiable information is they're not the subject matter, but we can actually pull information about them from the actual record itself. Okay, so when they're not the subject matter, but we can still find out information based on another record about an individual. So I hope that makes sense and you can distinguish between identifiable versus reasonably identifiable information. So I hope this video is giving you an understanding of those two concepts. Okay, firstly, that technology neutral regulation means we don't specify any technology in the actual legislation related to the Privacy Act. We just say it's got to satisfy the points, and organizations need to strive to satisfy the points. Okay, and thus, although we're not saying technology, they still need to have a certain degree of technology that satisfies those requirements. And then this concept of identifiable versus reasonably identifiable information. Identifiable, where the individual is the subject matter and you can identify them from the specific record. And then reasonably identifiable, when the subject matter is something else, but we can draw information about individuals that the actual record is not actually about, not the subject matter, from that record and find out about others as well that are associated with that record.